fair dinkum. He turns up. We've done all the hard work, heavy lifting today. I reckon we call him Blisters. He's done bugger all in this show today, and then he chimes in to take the credit of the last part of the show. It happens to be a man called Nedd Brockmann. G'day, Nedd.
Hello, fellas. Good to be here. Good to be here.
Nedd, you haven't been spotted, mate. You've been just bludgeoning along, and then all of a sudden we're at the end of this show. It's been how hard has it been, Brian, this show? Arduous.
Oh, goodness me. Look, mate, we've run out of coffee.
Yeah.
We've run out of milk.
Yep.
It's just...
When did the masseuse stop massaging our feet, Brian? That was at least half an hour ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, you say feet, I say something else. Nedd, okay. Mate, we were following you on Instagram.
Wow.
It was just unbelievable. Now, you've done some hard things in your life. Where does this rank?
Yep. Oh, mate, I reckon this run was 10 times harder than the Oz run.
Wow.
No word of an exaggeration. I thought I would have some reprieve at night. I thought that, from the Oz run, we got to have dinner together and talk about the day as a team. This time round, I'd have dinner and I'd have to rush to the shower. And in the shower, I felt like I was wasting time because, you've just got so many Ks to do in a day and not enough time. So, I reckon 10 times harder, easy.
So we're chatting with an Australian legend who, Brian, you pronounced earlier. He must what?
Australian of the Year.
Has to be.
All up OAM, all up Knighted.
Yep, all three in one fell swoop.
You reckon? Knighted?
Knighted, that's why King Charles is here. Sausage Fingers is in town.
Yep.
Oh, the big fella. Fat fingers.
Why don't we get Fat Fingers and Fat Ankles at the moment for you, Nedd, and we'll combine the two and you just get Knighted.
Yes. Okay, Brian, so it's going to happen, right? You can be, there's 8 billion people in the world. Brian Fletcher is going to be the very first person in the world welcoming and joining the run home with Joel and Fletch is who, Brian?
Sir Nedd Brockmann. We're going to drop the Brockmann. It's just going to be Sir Nedd. Just Sir Nedd. You're going to be known as.
Don't know how that sounds.
That'd be sick.
I know how it sounds. You know what, listener? Thumbs up on the open line now if you think Sir Nedd has got a great ring to it. In fact, Sir Nedd could win the Everest, it could win the Caulfield Cup, it could win the Melbourne Cup all in the same year, Brian, I would have thought. Hey, Nedd, can I just ask you this? So you spoke about the Oz run. Now, for people who don't know the story behind that, we had you on after that where you traversed across Western Australia through to the east coast of Australia, and you spoke about one of the questions we asked you, I don't know if you remember this, we said, what was the biggest challenge? You said, boys, this is a bit weird, but the trucks that came by who would almost sort of put you out of your running groove, would almost push you off the side of the road. That was a great obstacle for you. I can't imagine, there's no trucks on the track, but to do that...
No, there wasn't, weirdly enough.
Yeah, but to do that lap after lap after lap, at least with the travelling across Australia, had different sort of things to look at. That must have been torturous, was it?
Yeah, it was 100% torturous. It was like ended up doing 3,750 laps of that bloody blue track. It was one of those ones. I actually, on day 9 or 10, after a master lap, which was 12.8K, I would hop on the bed, get a quick massage or eat or whatever I got to do. I remember I pulled up once and I'd had a nap and I woke up and I was like, oh, what the hell's happening? And then I ran out, did a master lap, hopped back on, woke up and went, I'm in a loop. I'm in a... You know that movie with Tom Cruise in it where he gets halfway through, dies, restarts at the one spot?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I felt was happening. I kept thinking I was respawning and this thing was never, ever ending. So it was pretty traumatic. Each day I had to get out, averaged 130K a day.
Wow.
Around that bloody track. But we ended up, we're almost about to hit $4 million raised for homelessness. And it's just, it's the movement that's happening with the Uncomfortable Challenge it's well worth it, in my opinion.
So, Nedd, it was 100 miles per day, and you're hoping to do it in 10 days. Yep. Do you think if you didn't do it on the track, do you think, because you didn't, still unbelievable, 12 days you didn't, do you think you would have got the record if it hadn't have been a track? If you were just, as we were talking about before?
It's hard to say, Fletch, because I went into it. I had 8 weeks prior. I'd pretty injured. I had 3 cortisone injections in my ankle, and the first 3 days were fine. I got the first 3 days out, 100 mile a day, and I got a chest infection. My toes got infected, and I got very, very sick. So I was trying to just stop the capitulation and hold on for dear life. So in another world, potentially we get closer, but. It became much more about the holding on for dear life and showing people how to not give up, really.
Hey, Nedd, about a day or two out, and this is where you'd have no idea about the coverage you had. I'm sure you're seeing it now, but at the time, live when it's happening, the amount of people who had the interest in this story We're covering it. Where's Nedd up to? It's almost like a run rate. You're chasing the worm. And I actually said on air, and I'd love you to correct me if I'm wrong, is I said to Brian on air, I said, it came to a point where mathematically it seemed as though the world record, not what you've achieved, but the world record was probably a little bit beyond. And I said to Brian, Brian, as a parent of 4, I'm quite relieved about this because I got a sense this bloke, Nedd Brockmann, he's that tough. And if the carrot was close enough or the cheese on the trap, he would go to just break himself. So as a parent, just relief that it's maybe a little bit beyond it. Do you feel as though, had things been closer towards the finish line, do you feel like you might have put yourself a little bit too far down the track?
I actually did. I got to day 5. I hit 800K in 5 days, which is bang on the record.
Yep.
And that night I got to bed and I wasn't breathing correctly. My HRV was down. My breath rate was probably at 30 beats a minute, 30 breaths a minute, which is like hyperventilating almost. And I laid in bed with my clothes on and my shoes on, and I said, Mum, give me 45 minutes. I need to sleep. I couldn't make a decision. And I remember my nose was bleeding, my throat was closing up, and I thought at that point I was going to die. And so I said, Mum, can you stand outside my door because I might have to scream and get you in here. She left because she knew she had to have a bit of a crisis talk with the team to say I needed 6 hours sleep. And I've screamed out and she wasn't there, and I've gone, oh no, this is the end. So I reckon I got to that point, and it happened way earlier on. So we had to have a bit of a moment, a crisis talk, and we said, get in bed for 6 hours. Because I was at that point, Joel, I was like, that's the point I got to. And unfortunately, the record slipped, and that is what it is. But I think there's a lesson in shooting for the stars, absolutely going for it. And if it doesn't, still holding on and finishing what you said you were going to do.
Wow.
Nedd, what did the doctors say? Because I'd imagine you had quite a vast medical sort of team with you. Were they just saying, look, Nedd, this is not possible. You're bleeding out of your nose. Did the doctors say, look, just pull up?
No one around my corner, in my corner, would tell me to stop unless it got really dire, which it kind of did. But we had a sports doc come out. I saw him 3 times. He injected my knee, my shin, and gave me a pretty heavy anti-inflam, like systemically. So, and I was on antibiotics from day 4 because of this chest infection. So we got on top of those things. But yeah, just to battle away at, those 130 a day, I'm pretty proud of those. And I got 160 out in that final day to finish it off. So, again, regardless of the record, I know I sound like a bloke who's just not got the record, but I do know that, I'm a lot more proud of the fact that I got the thing done in, I'm the fastest ever person to do it since I've been alive. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Hey, Nedd, no one thinks about that, mate. All we think about is OAM Australian of the Year, Sir Nedd Brockmann. That's truly, mate. And, mate, you should see the board here. There is just thumbs up all over the shop. You are truly an Australian gem, and we appreciate that. I just want to ask you something, though, Nedd, around you're doing this for the homeless people. And I always say to Brian that my mum, if she went down Pitt Street Mall, she'll take 2 hours to do it because she want to speak to every homeless person there. But for those people who, if they're not directly getting behind what you're supporting there, which is neddsuncomfortablechallenge.com, which is going to the homeless, amongst other things, and you've got that many charities going on, how should people actually, we were talking about this the other day, what's the right way to go about when you come past a homeless person? Is it to give them cash? Is it to get them food? Is it just simply to have a conversation with them? In your conversations with the homeless, which you've done plenty of, what's the best way for the average person going to work to treat the homeless right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. The biggest thing is that we're all human. We're all the same. We all end up the same way. These people have just had circumstances out of their control majority of the time that have led them there. And so it's getting down to eye level. It's understanding we're both the same and asking where you can help. A lot of the time they don't want help because no one wants to be homeless. No one chooses to be on the street. Regardless of what you think, no one chooses to be there. So it's getting down, talking to them and understanding them. And if they want the help, they'll let you know. But majority, say 90% of the time I've spoken to someone that don't want help because they're too, they're proud. They've got go about them and they want to get through it themselves. And I think it's just offering your time, offering a smile and offering a hello because they get walked past 99 out of 100 people. So it's just being human and being caring and giving and wanting to help, I think, is the biggest thing.
Now, there's a lot of good charities around, including obviously your one. And what was it about the homeless that sort of triggered you into setting up a charity? Was there a moment, or was there a friend or a family member?
Mate, when I moved to Sydney, I saw a heap of it at Eddie Avenue in the city there, and when I was heading into TAFE, it wasn't as much in the country. Obviously, it's not as populated, so you don't see it as much. But when I saw it, I was like, this is just wrong. Why are there people dealing with this when there's so many rich people and high rises and all this stuff? So it was just an effect. I've been fortunate enough to never be in that position, but there's only we're so many steps away from being it ourselves, or not knowing where an next paycheck or next meal is going to come from. So, a lot of these people, as I said, never intended to be there. Yeah. And then life's hard. Housing cost is going up. Inflation, all these things, domestic violence, all those things are factors to this. And I just think anyone who's doing it tough deserves help. So that's kind of why.
Brian, what about these thumbs up charging through?
Yeah,
hey, Sir Nedd Brockmann. It's done. It's done, Ned.
Hey,
it's done.
Ned, you had a lot of guests helping you out, including the Premier, Chris Minns. Now, he's the man that can make obviously huge decisions and help out the homeless. Has he promised anything, or has he said he'll look into it?
Mate, we actually went for a run last year together, and he sorted out the Olympic Park so I could do this, because I said I'd be raising a whole heap of cash, and he agreed to it. But I think the thing is, you've got to do these things to get in the faces of these people, and as you said, they make the big decisions. So if I haven't made enough noise now, I'm not sure when I will. I think we'll be able to have these conversations soon. And even whether it's funding or it's actually support programs or more housing or more support to make it less of an issue, I think that will be the go.
Hey, Ned, stupid question, but we hear stories of, and nothing on your level. Liam Henry, who's played in the grand final, within days he's running a sort of 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Ks. Yep. What about yourself? Have you wanted to turn the wheels over? Like you've done so much for so long, but are you absolutely abstaining from what you've done, or have you felt the need to try and get out and do something?
As I said, I didn't sleep very good for the first few days, but I finally got some rest and the heart rate's going down. I went to the gym this morning, but did a very pathetic bench press and a few bicep curls, just to get the heart rate going and feeling like I'm doing something. Because as you can tell, I don't sit down very well. I love just going. So I think in time I'll get back on the feet and start running again. But for right now, I just want to enjoy what I did, because I had such little enjoyment out there. I want to be able to enjoy the time and spend it with friends who are there, and just talk about it and try and process it all.
Now, Ned, I need to know, out of those 12.5 days, how many hours sleep did you get? Do you reckon you've worked out?
Mate, the first 5 nights I didn't get more than an hour.
What?
I was just tossing and turning. Yeah, I've got all the stats. It was pretty alarming. Hence why I thought I was going to die on that night 5. So we ended up getting a big 6 hours lay down. Probably got about 3 hours that night, and then there wasn't much after that. But we kind of got about 4 hours in bed each day, which wasn't fun. It was 4 hours of legs up. So.
Hey, Ned, when you're doing those laps, those mundane laps, lap after lap, who do you reckon was your best company? I know you had a lot of people out there, celebrities and otherwise, out there running the laps with you, but who did you find that took the mind off it the most for you?
My best mate, Tommy, English fella down from Melbourne, he came up. He's just one of the most stoic, strong-minded blokes I know, and the conversations we had out there were pretty wild. I was very grateful for all the support, and a lot of the times on my own, it was nice to just deal with whatever was going on in my own head on my own. But Tommy for sure was was the man.
What were you listening to? I saw your headphones in there. Were you just listening to songs, or was it motivate Anthony
just
Robbins?
A heap of head noise.
Yeah.
Nah, just Tony Robbins. Yeah, there we go. Bloody hell. A bit of music, but again, it just gets too intense, and you just want to get out of it. So, bit of everything, to be honest, Fletch. Just I've got this Rocket Fuel playlist on Spotify, all the great tunes. Just a bit of SEN. You know how it is.
Yeah. Have you shared that playlist, Ned?
Yeah, because I was thinking Ray Hadley does his thing every year.
You have.
We need to have a Nedd Brockmann fresh hits of 2024.
go have a look at it. Nedd Brockmann Rocket Fuel.
There we go. Okay, there you go, Brian. And you know the other thing, you know about radio these days and media. So our producer here who's running the ship, he's doing a great job. The tourist, he's winding us up. And I felt bad. I'm thinking, this bloke's had a huge couple of weeks and we're taking him way too long on the radio. And then I think, stuff him. He's just ran around a truck for 12 and a half weeks. He can handle another few minutes,
12
Brian.
12
and a half days, I should say. just on that, Ned. So they say that less than 1% in their lifetime, of the 8 billion people on this planet, less than 1% will complete a marathon. You, for all intents and purposes, did basically 3 a day for 12 days, 12 and a half days.
Yeah, 38 of them in 12 days.
Wow. Wow.
That's off its head. That is
It is.
its head.
Yeah, it is. It is off its head now. I think about it.
Are you going? Tell us.
Well, good luck to it,
Yeah. What's next? What are you going to do next?
mate. Don't even start. Don't you dare.
Oh.
I'm gonna first of all burn Sydney Olympic Park to the ground first, and then I'll think about what I'm gonna do.
Oh, that's awesome,
Hey, Ned,
mate.
last question,
Awesome.
which I'm very confident you haven't been asked this. Since completion of such an almighty thing, which earns him the title of what, Brian?
Sir Ned.
Sir Nedd Brockmann.
Yes.
Right, Sir Nedd Brockmann.
I'm pushing for it.
Yes, and there will be a horse called Sir Ned. We should own it, Brian, and with Ned. But I'll ask you this. Since you've completed, Ned, if you could rewind to a 10-minute period post-event, where would you go and what were you doing at the time? Who were you with?
Probably drinking my first taste of my banana caramel milk.
Chocky.
Brand new flavour.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That would be it. It was about an hour after I got my first go at it. So
Where do we get
pretty
it?
good.
Where do we get the chocky milk?
The banana caramel is at 7-Eleven exclusive, but chocky and iced coffee are at pretty well all your big supermarkets and servos.
There you go.
Ned, you're a freak, brother. You're a freak. Go and put your feet up.
Is he the first Sir we've interviewed,
Appreciate
Brian?
you guys.
He's our first Sir.
He's our first Sir. By the way, too, if you want to be anything like our man, Sir Nedd Brockmann, you can get involved in the Uncomfortable Challenge. That is the way to do that. Ned's, NEDDS, uncomfortablechallenge.com. Our man, Adam Peacock's doing that.
Oh,
Who also narrated the book.
He is. He's killing it.
Yeah, he's
Absolutely killing it.
He is. What a great bloke he is, Ned.
Mate, a weapon. Very grateful to know him. Very grateful to know him.
Righto, Ned. Ned's get the short answers, which means, boys, wrap it up. I
Yeah,
have done all those laps.
Fair
Hey, Ned.
See you, boys. Have a good one.
See you,
brother.
Nedd Brockmann, ladies and gentlemen. There's
On you, mate.
122,000 people facing homelessness in Australia right now. That's 6% of the 122,000 on the streets, Brian. 94% in unsafe spaces such as living in cars, escaping domestic violence, etc. And as we said, Ned's new book is also voiced by Adam Peacock on the audio book.